also use it as a chance to tell people what's going on. Okay, so we are technically live right now. We're having some serious computer issues where my computer is just spiking, which means the feed is going to be poop. So we're trying to figure it out. So bear with us. If we can't figure it out, we're just going to have to proceed with the recording without you guys, which would really be lame.
And there is a dark and twisted part of me that's quite satisfied with this technical issue, because I've had nothing but technical issues when I go live. You jerk.
No, we're just better at solving the problems when they happen. That's the difference.
Hey, maybe that's true. Could be something to that.
Yeah, there might be.
You know, one of the issues of my static, and it was the stupidest thing in the world. I had the phantom power on my XLR USB converter into an already self-powered mic. So I was
really?
sending current. I was just sending current directly into it. I'm lucky I didn't like fry my lav mic, because I was sending power into the. That's really stupid. $900 lav mic. Fortunately, seems.
Too bad. We're up at 75,
'cause
80%.
One stream should be half the CPU usage.
You'd think.
David Nichols just said, "I'm seeing it on Facebook," and now Mark just yanked it.
Okay, well,
just because it was David, we know how
Yeah.
that relationship goes.
You know what's goofy
David
is
Nichols just
I
said,
was
"I'm
just
seeing it on
watching it.
Facebook," and now
okay.
And the only person whose audio is off is you, Mark.
I know. That's what we just said.
How the hell is that even possible?
The only thing I could think is because it's my computer that's processing all of this. So if there's some kind of weird delay, it's happening on my end. So here's the thing. It's not as bad. It's like 75, 80% CPU usage, and we are just on YouTube now. So the question is, if this is okay, if this is working, then we will proceed.
Okay.
It may
Works for
still
me.
it may still be a problem, but we're kind of just we're not going to be able to do the Facebook one. We're good?
I'm not watching Facebook anyway, so
Screw Facebook.
Whatever.
Who uses Facebook anyway?
I just use Facebook to stop.
I just
high school
like this
people.
Wood Whisperer guy stuff on Facebook. That's
Well,
about the only thing I do.
Whether you want to or not. So I put
Hey,
you
which one is it now? You got like 3 live streams here now. Oh wait, those are the old ones. There we go.
Yeah, there's nothing confusing about this at all.
Partially recorded with 3 seconds and a minute 20 something or whatever.
I think we probably made this as difficult as it could possibly be. Well, frankly, this is appropriate for a 10th anniversary show.
minor
Nothing-
dysfunction.
Nothing works.
I can find nothing about the new version of Skype affecting Wirecast, by the way. Not that that means anything, because it could be brand spanking new, but
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Everyone is noticing that it's in a 4:3 ratio, which is really weird.
whoa.
I'm gonna have to just can my entire Wirecast file and just rebuild them and see if I can't get it to work. And that's not something I could do right now. So let's just do a damn show, huh? What do you think?
Okay.
All right, screw this stuff. It's not an important show. So where's our contact numbers? So just anyone who's listening live, if you're interested, we will be trying to field calls during the show when we can. We'll do the best we can to get you on. But the phone number is 623-242-5180, and Skype is what we're actually using, so you can get us there as well. Wood Talk Online is the name that you can use for that. So if you have anything to say, you want to tell us that we suck at this live stuff, it's very true. I think we're ready. Let's do a show. Not right this second, you turds. We haven't even started the show. Someone's
already?
Yeah, someone's already calling
Oh
it.
my god.
And
If you
like I
call
said,
now, you'll be on hold.
yeah, I will let that go. Let's start the show so we can answer that call at some point. No, hold on. Here we go.
Guys who love the smell of shellac in the morning. Mark, Shannon, and Matt.
All right, it's Wood Talk number 371 for April 3rd, 2017. And on today's show, we're doing something very special. We're celebrating 10 years of Wood Talk. It's hard to believe. 10 years, guys. So April 1st, 2007, Matt and I started the show, and now we are 10 years later. We have learned nothing since then. We have gotten no better at what we do, but we persist and we keep moving on.
See, I feel every minute of that 10 years.
Do you?
It's just been absolute torture.
Yeah.
And I only showed up at what'd we say, Mark?
Episode 71.
Yeah, something like
Officially.
that. Yeah, well, my guest appearances don't count. So
Nope.
Yeah, it's been a painful Wow, look at that. It's 371. So it's been 300 episodes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So not only is it the 10th anniversary, it's my 300th
It's your 300th, yeah.
anniversary.
That's great, man.
Wow.
So yeah, we're
Look at
gonna
that.
kind of
Fancy.
break format today. We'll get into the details of that a little bit later, but we do want to thank some folks who helped us out at Patreon. Let me get their names here: Radvansky, Christopher. I think for some reason, I think his first name went last and it's backwards. Anyway, Eric Sipe, Grayson Dillon, Dustin Norris, Bryce Robel, Hal, Larry Stewart, Matthew Turner, and Anita. I'm just assuming this is a joke. Anita Longerman.
Yeah, probably.
You get it? That's great. That's pretty funny.
I like it.
All right. So if you want to help us out too, leave a really silly name in there. We'll read it on the show. That's always fun. That's patreon.com/woodtalk. And again, breaking format today. We're going to do a call-in show. So if anybody wants to call in, they can do that. We'll try to fit you in between the segments and the various things we're going to do today. 623-242-5180. And on Skype, you can get us at Wood Talk Online. And if you just want to say hello, you got a question, we'll answer questions. We'll talk woodworking today. It's not all goofing around. It's not all fun and games.
What?
Well, sorry to disappoint.
Dang it.
We do have a purpose here, sort of. At least I like to
I was
think so.
excited.
I know. So here's the thing. We got a couple different things, couple different segments. We've got some pre-recorded call-ins from various people that I think you guys are going to really enjoy. And we're going to kick it off here with a timeline. Now, if you're relatively new to the show, or maybe you've been here for a while, this might be a fun little review for you. Here's the rough timeline of major events that have happened on the show. Hey, you know what? Before we do that, let's just take this call. See who it is. Hello, you are on with the Wood Talk guys.
Really?
Yes. Who is this?
This is Bob.
Oh, Bob. How are you, sir?
I am great. How about yourself?
Doing well. So this is Mr. DeVries. He's called into the show a number of times and left messages. Well, yeah, left messages for the show. Big supporter of ours. So welcome to the show, man. So what's on your mind?
I just want to say congratulations on the 10 years.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. You guys give a whole lot of woodworking information. But, when you bring Mateo in and some of the other family things, we all start to feel like we know the family, and we're like watching you guys grow. It's just, you got a hell of a formula going on, and I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It's a little bit weird, though, when people start showing up for Thanksgiving dinner because they feel like they're part of the family. That's how I know we've
you
gone
guys
a little...
aren't nearly as dysfunctional as my own family, so that's kind of why I did that.
Right. Nice. Well, very cool, man. Thank you so much. And you know what I think I did? I actually did not add you to the call. I simply took the call with you. So I need to go back to the other guys and figure out how to do this thing.
Don't sweat it.
All
Don't
right.
sweat it. I just really appreciate it, guys.
Well, thank you, buddy.
And,
Appreciate it.
I did a super chat 10 for 10, screwed up, realized I was in Toronto, so it's not really 10 US, but you got the feeling.
Fair enough. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it, man.
You bet.
All right, take care.
Bye.
You guys still there? Hold on. There we go. So did you guys see what I did?
What, besides cut us off?
No, I took the call, and I have to figure it out when the next call comes in. There's answer the call, which puts the other call on hold, and then there is answer the call but add to the call. So the next one that comes in, I'm going to have to get that right. And hopefully
You're learning.
Well,
it's not something we do all the time.
We just pulled up the live stream and listened to it.
Did you guys enjoy listening
Like
to
an
the show?
audience member. It was nice.
Yeah, it was very nice. You take a little break.
Thanks, Bob. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We heard you.
Bob's a good
Mark
dude.
didn't want us to hear. He wanted to just have you all to himself.
I'm just very selfish is
Right.
what this comes down to. I'll get better at this, I promise. Okay, so back to that timeline. April 1st, 2007. My gosh, that was so long ago. That was before I had kids. It's like a whole different era of life. It's almost like a decade ago. All right. So Mark and Matt, and again, it was April 1st, which really is the appropriate time to start a show by Mark and Matt Vanderlist. It's just, April 1st, it's almost a joke, but it's just a joke that kept going for 10 years. So here's a little clip. I think you might enjoy it.
Hi, and welcome to the first episode of Wood Talk Online. My name is Matt Vanderlist, and I'm the host of Matt's Basement Workshop podcast.
And I'm Mark Spagnolo, host of the Wood Whisperer video podcast. We're both the hosts of Wood Talk Online. Now, Wood Talk Online is a brand new podcast for woodworkers and by woodworkers.
That's right, Mark.
All right. That never gets any easier to listen to.
That just never gets old, though. I mean, we've played that like 3 or 4 times, since I've been on this show.
Yep.
And it's still just as bad and wonderful.
It really is. It really is. So yeah, very, very rehearsed and obviously reading as we do the show.
Oh, wow. You did some serious prep work back then, huh?
We really did. Yeah, we put a lot of effort into it. That's why it only happened every 2 weeks, because it was so much work. All right, so then a couple years go by. Things are going well. By 2009, and this is kind of the interesting thing, a lot of people want to know what happened with the knitters. What's the reason why there's this war there? And while the origin is still a little unclear, it was very clear by show number 53 in 2009 that the war against the knitters was in full force. And then we surprised everyone on our 2-year anniversary by actually getting a sponsorship from a knitting organization. And this was the ad that we had on the show.
Hi, this is Gerald, and I'm your knitting friend and compadre in Needlecraft, and I'm also the host of an exciting new show dedicated to knitting for us manly men and for those who love us, and it's called Nothing Wrong with Knitting. Now, every single week, we're going to be exploring what's new in knitting, and I'll have a new and exciting pattern for us to make together in our very own virtual Knitter's Corner. Now, you're welcome to join the discussion in our chat room, and I know for a fact that you're going to love watching all the live demonstrations on our website, where you're also going to find everything a knitter needs to know. So join us, won't you? Nothing Wrong with Knitting, brought to you by the fine makers of Ural's Yarns. Whether it's wool, cotton, or synthetic, you'll love Ural's. Check out the next episode of Nothing Wrong with Knitting at nwn.com.
So the great thing about that, I just listened to it again today. We went on for like another 5 minutes pretending that was like extending the joke so far beyond like what was appropriate. It was really bad. So that's Matt doing his wonderful knitting commercial. Now, June 2010, episode 71, a landmark day for the show. Shannon, who had guested on the show a couple of times, becomes our first official third host. And I even explained on that particular episode that we weren't even really seeking out a third chair. We didn't necessarily want a third host, but we...
They were just trying to shut me up. Quit calling in, you jerk.
Yeah, stop, man. If you got to talk so much, get on the show. Jeez, fine, we'll let you on. So this was Shannon's debut, and it just could not be any more perfect. Welcome to Wood Talk Online, episode 71, a very rough start to an episode 71 for June 9th, 2010. I'm Mark Spagnolo. Shannon.
Oh.
Is he
Hello.
there? Did we lose Shannon?
We might be having a...
What did I say? A rough start. So this is all good. That guy over there is Shannon Rogers. And so I don't know what happened. Was that a technical difficulty? You couldn't hear us or something? Perfect. I was hoping you would do that. So Shannon's first entry into the show was a little rough, kind of like today's show is a little rough for us. But obviously things have gotten a little bit easier since then. So let's move on. December 2015, Matt's Exodus. That was actually a pretty funny show. Heartwarming, but also funny. So here's a little clip.
First of all, I do want to thank both of you for all the amazing things that you said, and we've talked quite a bit offline about this, and I feel the same way that Mark does. I've probably talked to Mark more than probably even my children, so I don't know if that's really, maybe that goes against what you described as me being a family person.
So my favorite thing about that is the sad Hulk walking away,
music.
Bruce Banner walking away music.
That's the best.
Yeah, so that's when Vanderlist left, and then finally in January 2016, The Matt Awakens is the episode where Matt Cremona officially joins the show. Here's a little clip. To take anything away from our true new co-host, who you might have already heard his laugh, is just his trademark thing. What is it with the third co-host on the show has a trademark laugh that everybody just can hear from a mile away? You just
And
know
he's always
him.
named Matt.
And that's
Wait a
actually
minute.
just pure laziness on our part. So we don't have to change anything. We would like to Malcolm. Let's Malcolm Watt.
Uh,
I'm gonna
milk you,
to
Matt.
welcome our new co-host to the show, Matt Cremona. Welcome, dude.
Thank
Hey.
you. Thank you so much.
Hey, at least he responded when I addressed him for the
Yeah,
first
that's
time.
True.
So you're one
Already
point.
a more auspicious debut than I had.
Oh man.
I just like the whole idea of milking Matt.
Yeah.
What is it De Niro says in Meet the Parents? If it has nipples, you can milk it. No,
That's
that's
right.
Ben Stiller that said that.
Is
Yeah.
it?
So there we go.
But yeah, I got you. That's awesome, man. So that is basically the timeline. That brings us up to today in 2017, where we still can't get a live show to work properly, but we do our best. So 371 episodes later, here we are, 10 years into it. Frankly, a lot of
I'm gonna
shows.
talk about a slow start. When you look at, April 1st, and then two years later, show number 53. And then a year later, we were only on show 71.
Yeah, man. I mean, in the early days, it truly was, Matt and I just deciding, are we going to do a show this week? Do we want to? Like, it really wasn't even about doing it for an audience, because there wasn't that big of an audience. It was like, do we feel like doing it? And then it wasn't until we really committed to some kind of a regular schedule that things started to get a little bit smoother with the whole deal. So we brought up Vanderlist a few times, obviously one of the co-creators of the show initially, and exited the show, 8 years into it, 8 or 9 years. And he did pre-record because he's traveling today. Part of his new thing is his new job where he travels a lot, which is why he can't do the show. But he did pre-record a message for us, so let's have a listen.
Hey, Wood Talk, it's me, Old Matt, which actually coincidentally is a really good description considering I'm so much older than all of you. And by older than all of you, I don't mean like in a combined age kind of a way. I'm thinking more of a one-on-one individualistic. I'm older than you because I was born before you. We may have a similar birth date, such as Mark, you and I are like one day off. But damn it, see, whenever I start talking to you guys or with you guys, it always goes off in these tangents. And it's just... it explains so much of the past 10 years, which actually brings me back to what I was, kind of calling in for in the first place, which is to say congratulations on making a full decade of woodworking goodness. You guys have done a fantastic job, and it's hard to believe that 10 years ago, two of us thought this was actually going to be a good idea. In fact, actually, after years of persistence and the eventual addition of Shannon, Wood Talk turned into a regular thing, really, when it comes down to it. And for the longest time there, it was more or less just one of these things where, like, one of us would email the other and say something like, hey, are we still doing this thing? Do you think we should record another episode? What do you got going on next week? Yeah? Well, let's just call and we'll just see what's going on and just talk about stuff and really go off on tangents like nobody's business. So it's amazing that you guys have turned this into what it really is today. Personally, I always kind of assumed that when I left the show that Mark and Shannon, you guys would just fall into a heaping pile of sobbing mess, maybe gnashing your teeth at the idea that I was gone, pining for the good old chortle-filled days. But then in walked new Matt. Hey, Matt, how's it going? Great job. Really liking the work you're doing with these guys. And things seem to pick right up where they left off. And more importantly, of course, is the fact that you guys didn't need to pay for a new opener or do much work on the website, since it was just kind of swapping one mat for another. Anyways, though, keep up the good work. It's awesome that I get to listen to a show I feel like I know inside and out. And I want you guys to know that I'm always here if you need me, actually more in spirit, but occasionally in person if you gave me just like maybe enough notice that you want me to be there for you. But anyway, so keep up the great work. Congratulations again. And I am so happy to see what you guys have continued to do and to actually be a part of what we did. Does that kind of go from there? That makes sense a little bit? I don't know. It's in my head. Anyway, so I'm gonna sign off before I go into any more kind of tangenty directions, because God knows I'll do it. Anyway, so take care, guys.
Awesome stuff from Mr. Vanderlist himself. So hope you're doing okay, Matt. Wish you could be on the show today, but appreciate you doing a pre-recorded message for us. That's definitely very cool. So let's move on to the next thing. So we thought this was awesome. This actually was a suggestion by what's his name, Philip in Germany. And he says, "Dear Wood Talkers, as someone who always loves your spousal side stories, donuts and all, I have a special question for your anniversary show. Bring in your significant others and have them answer the question, what are the best and worst things the woodworking addiction has done to your husband? For myself, I think she would say that woodworking has kept me sane and somewhat balanced throughout the past 6 years, which saw my finishing my dissertation, us getting married, having and taking part part-time care of 2 daughters, buying and renovating a 1960s house. The worst would probably be the constant wood-related procrastination and tool purchases, but those are the easy answers. I want to hear what Nicole, Heather, and Lindsay have to say. I am deeply in love with your 3 weekly shows and hope you will be doing this goofy thing for many, many years to come. Greetings from beautiful springtime Heidelberg in Germany. Philip. So I read that and I was like, this is actually brilliant. I don't know that the ladies are going to want to come onto the show necessarily, but we might be able to convince them to pre-record something to sort of answer this question. And guess what? They did. So I think probably for the first time ever, all 3 wives will be making an appearance on the show, sort of, through pre-recorded files. So let's start out with the new guy. This is Cremona's wife, Lindsay. And he basically hands her the phone and says, go. Start talking.
What you told me to do.
Speak, woman, speak.
All right, here we go.
The best part about Matt being a woodworker was that I was able to design our baby's nursery furniture, particularly the crib and the bassinet, and now JR's toddler bed. It was just nice because I was able to pick out whatever I wanted without worrying about how much it may cost, and also, I didn't have any concern about safety because I knew that since Matt was making it, it would be solid. However, I'd have to say the worst part about Matt being a woodworker is probably the fact that somehow our house is slowly becoming a furniture museum of this stuff, because you feel this guilt about wanting to get rid of old furniture that Matt's built, even though he built it many years ago and now it's just not the same quality as what he can build now. And so we have like 2 sofa tables, even though we only use 1. And so, yeah, our basement's just full of furniture that Matt made many years ago that we no longer works with our decor, or just he's made a nicer version of it. And I feel guilty wanting to get rid of it, but to be honest, I do, because we have so much of it.
Nice.
Okay, so this is the best part where she tries to figure out how to turn it off. So you gotta wait for the ending. I'm gonna leave it in there, Matt. Hopefully she won't be upset because it's pretty funny. Okay, any second now.
What the hell? And now I literally can't stop this man.
What the hell? It's great. Oh, brilliant work. Awesome. So thank you for doing that, Lindsay. That's fantastic. She's a good sport.
What the hell?
What the hell? Matt, how do I turn this off? All right. So here is Shannon having a talk with his wife, Heather.
I'm here with my wife, Heather.
Last time you said lovely wife.
Okay, sorry. I'm here with my lovely wife, Heather. Say hi, Heather.
Hi, Shannon.
Wood Talk has hit 10 years.
That's great.
So we want to know from you, the significant other, what is the best and the worst thing that woodworking has done to me?
And I want to know why you're saying to you instead of for you.
I don't know.
Because that's the way it was worded.
That's what woodworking's done for me.
Okay. Like hooked on phonics.
Yep,
It works for you. Okay. Best thing. Best thing would be definitely the people. You've met a really, really, really nice community of people. I have met some of them at Woodworking in America and various events, and they're just very kind and interested, and so I would say the people, hands down. That would be the best thing.
All right. Power to the people. Good.
Yes.
So how about the bad stuff?
The bad stuff would be certainly the time. There are evenings when I don't see you, and I know you're down there because you're making some noise. But so,
Hand tools do make noise.
they do. There's some grinding things and some that pedal your lathe. When you pedal that, I can hear that. So it's why I monitor that you're still down there. But
Still alive.
yeah, but for the most part, I'm just up here lonely and sad.
Oh,
So
jeez.
'cause I know you're not making anything for me. So
Wow.
I know.
Okay, then.
Breaking it all out here. Well, you asked the question. So
Stupid
if
me.
you want an honest answer. Anyway, no, the good certainly outweighs the bad. It definitely does, but I still want built-ins in the bedroom.
Okay.
And
Now, can I go on record and say that all the things that I'm not making for you, I am actually making for you to give as gifts to people?
well, there's that. But
That's not enough.
I still want built-ins in the bedroom.
Fair enough.
So
Well, I want to get that plywood out of the shop, so I guess I should build the built-ins.
there you go. See how easy it is?
All right.
You give a little, I give a little.
Very good. All right. Do you have any wishes to Wood Talk of the next 10 years?
I wish you guys even more success, because I think it's been a wild ride so far and a lot of fun. And I don't know. I think bigger, and sky's the limit. Come on, we're in the age of the maker.
So let's make something big.
So make something big, exactly.
All right.
Well, good luck and congratulations on 10 years, guys. Well deserved.
Oh, that was awesome. Thank you, Heather.
That was just her veiled way of saying, so when is this going to turn into something that makes money?
Yeah. I was going to say, so come continued
on, guys.
success. So
do
like,
something with it.
don't we have to succeed first to have continued success? We're not doing that great. But yeah, that was awesome. Thank you so much, Heather. Another great sport. And now my wife, who I enjoy pestering with a phone and recording her voice practically on a daily basis. This is really nothing new for her, but let's hear what Nicole has to say. All right, so I'm here with Nicole, my beautiful wife. It's Monday, first thing in the morning, because we forgot to do this on the weekend when we were a little more energized. So we're sitting at the kitchen table, donuts and coffee in hand, to answer some very important questions. And so the first one is, you want the good or the bad first?
I don't care.
See, this is
This is Monday morning.
I think Nicole's answer to this is apathy. She could care less one way or the other. Okay.
You do you.
Okay. So here's the best part about me being a woodworker. All right. Let's go with the happy stuff first. What's the best part about me having an obsession with woodworking?
We save a lot of money.
Do we really?
I don't know. Well,
are you sure?
Not really. What? I don't know.
You know how much I paid for that walnut slab?
Well, I guess the way I look at it is, I know you have the mindset to put furniture together. So like that set I bought, the bedroom set.
Yeah.
Like I don't stress out about buying something
because your husband can't put it together.
because you can't put it together.
Right.
Like I know you'll put it together.
Well, sure, yes. With a little tear in my eye, I will put a manufactured piece of furniture together.
Hey, sometimes you gotta buy.
Yeah. So I love this answer. So the best part about me being a woodworker is that I could put together other people's furniture. Well said, Nicole. Thank you.
The fact that you can build our furniture, but here's the thing.
Well, how about this table?
I love this table.
We're at the kitchen table. That really suits our
needs. And I will
and
say I was extremely impressed that it only took a few months. Oh, sorry. Hitting the table.
Yeah. Well, was it a few months?
Well, when we moved in November, I'm like, we need a new table.
Oh, well, but I mean, it actually only took me a couple weeks to
right,
build it.
but how long did it take to get it actually in production?
Yeah.
That's like the worst part of you being a woodworker.
I have 2 kids to take care of. Okay. I'm a dad.
Don't make excuses. Here's the thing. I know the next question is the worst.
Okay, you want to do that now?
The best is you build things. The worst is you take frickin' forever to build things. I remember that coffee table. I must have requested it for almost 5 years.
But think in terms
and that's
of
why
like,
I go and I buy stuff because I'm like, he's not gonna get around to this.
Think in terms of like other types of things that are negative. Like, do I have any weird obsessions about things that like I get distracted in situations most people wouldn't? So your negative is a result of me. It's just there's other factors here. But like me being obsessed with woodworking, has there ever been a time where you're just like, oh, just let it go? Or move on to something else. Or
that table that you're working on right now, that you're refinishing. So the outdoor table that you made, you're refinishing it, and it's just looking.
I think you would have just been happy if
I would have
slapped a new coat of finish on there and been done with it.
Or just gone out and get a plastic one.
That would be great. Or just put it on the list, and in 8 months you might have one.
Just for the amount of time you've been spending on that thing.
You watch when it's done.
It's gonna look.
You're gonna love it.
Just as.
You're gonna want to sleep on it. It's gonna look so nice.
I mean, you do obsess about certain things that I'm like, okay, we have other things to think about.
Yeah.
But you find your groove, and I nudge you.
I think what it comes down to is I'm pretty awesome, so there's really not a lot to complain about.
I like it when you build stuff for the kids. I really, really like seeing them.
I like it too. That's some of our most fun stuff.
Yeah, I really like that.
The hook that definitely went straight to the top.
And I'll say that one of the first gifts that you gave me, that picture frame with the print of Scott Johnson did of our WoW characters.
Right.
I adore that.
Yeah, that is cute.
It's one of my favorites. Cool. You have a lot of projects. I mean, if I sit here and really think about everything that you've built a ton of stuff, and it's very nitpicky me to say, you haven't built me this.
It sure is, Nicole.
Shut up. I'm trying to...
The first step is admitting it.
You're such a jerk.
Okay, well, I think we might have gone extra long here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks, Nicole.
Hey,
enjoy your coffee.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, well, thank you.
Of Wood Talk. Not ours. Just making
not
sure.
Ours. Wait, when is ours?
Just making sure you know it's not ours.
Well, look, it doesn't feel like it's been a day over 30 years that we've been married, so... Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. That went on a little bit long. I didn't realize I was making fun of Shannon's for being too long. I was
going to say, I need to, wow.
Somehow your file size was much bigger than mine. I don't know. What's up with that? I have to figure that out later. Anyway, so thank you.
Usually the higher quality content is a higher memory.
That's true. Well, I think the two of you are singers, right? So you both have more dynamic range in your voices, so it takes more bits.
That must have been it.
Yeah.
See, I really don't want to get Heather together with Nicole, because I used to think that, like, how cool would it be to get the wives together? But if she's complaining about how slow you work,
yeah, man.
See, Heather thinks that my speed is normal for a woodworker, but if she actually saw the output of what you do, Mark, I'd be screwed. So.
Well, then you got Lindsay on the other side, who's like, I just have too much furniture around. Like
too much.
I have two of everything that I want, and one of them's better than the other. That's my biggest problem. So I think Matt just showed both of us up.
Woo!
Yeah, good stuff. Well, thank you, ladies, for doing that. I really appreciate it. You guys were good sports, and hopefully everybody enjoyed hearing from you. I thought it was a really good question, Philip. Thank you.
Jason in the YouTube chat room just said he came in halfway through and he was very confused.
It would be very
confusing.
Who are these
ladies on Wood Talk?
Yes, ladies of the wood.
There's no women allowed on Wood Talk.
We actually, you know what? We really do need a female, like an all-female podcast. Why does that not exist yet?
Seriously.
Somebody make it happen.
Come on.
Make it happen,
I can't
people.
help for that. I'm sorry.
All right, so we got a bunch of well wishes from various people, so we're going to play those throughout the show. First one here is from our good buddy AJ.
Hey guys, it's AJ from New England Woodworking Studio. I know this is your anniversary show, so I have no idea if you're actually going to use this or not. But I just wanted to take a second and thank the three of you, and thank Matt, number one, as well, for the years and years of information and entertainment and just awesomeness that is Wood Talk. Just kidding. I love it. I wish that I found out about it from day one. I jumped on a few years into it, but it's my number one podcast, and I'm sorry to every other podcast out there, but you guys are it, and I look forward to it every week. And between this and all four of your YouTube channels probably have taught me the most about woodworking. And I'm now starting my own business, and I really do have you guys and a lot of other people on YouTube to thank for it. Thanks for the knowledge and helping me fall in love with this craft that just means so much to me and has taken over my life. So once again, guys, thanks so much, and you're awesome. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I got. Later.
Awesome. Thank you for that, AJ. We appreciate it. Always appreciate your questions and voicemails that come in. And I've got one more to play here. Probably recognize this guy.
10 years? Good grief. Hey, guys, it's Bob from I Like to Make Stuff. Thanks for putting on an awesome show and for sticking around for 10 years. Thanks for sharing all the information you do with the community. Keep it up, and here's to 10 more years.
Thank you so much, Bob. And don't forget to check Bob out on Making It as well with DeResta and Pachuto, which is another great audio podcast to listen to. So, all right. So I do have some kickback here, but I want to make sure everybody knows if you want to call in, you can. Wood Talk Online is our Skype name, and 623-242-5180 if you want to call from a landline or a cell phone. A phone is what I meant to say, not a landline. Who has landlines anymore?
Something we got to put numbers in.
Yeah, you just push those numbers, whatever it is. I don't care what kind of phone it is. Give us a call. We'll pull you into the show.
Big buttons.
Yes, that. Like my grandmom's old phone with the big giant, 3-inch by 3-inch squares. Yeah, that was great. All right, so the kickback that we have here is actually woodworking related, so I don't see any problem why we can't play that stuff. We are doing a show here on woodworking. Oh, we actually have somebody calling in. So let me see. It gives me two options, guys, to either accept the call or decline the call. But hold on. There's one. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to accept the call and then add it to the call.
Maybe you can't.
How do you, like, don't people do that all the time?
I don't know.
All right.
I don't have any friends. So
we don't have, this is it.
me.
This is the extent of it.
basically,
Yeah.
you're the only two I talk to. So.
Okay,
You always call me. I don't call you.
Right, that's true. All right, so Sheldon has a little kickback on sharpening.
Hi guys, this is Sheldon from Montana. Just leaving some kickback for episode 370 about your sharpening solutions. And you guys, in all your talk about Tormek style grinders and low and high speed grinders, you guys missed a fairly obvious one, and that's your belt sander. A little deliberate pause there for the screams of anguish from the purists. But, on the job site, that's what you do. When you're out on the job site, you just flip your handheld belt sander upside down and sharpen your bevel that way. Now, to be fair, I'm not really advocating you do that to your $1,000 Japanese hand-forged chisels, but I think there's a good case for it for reestablishing the bevel and fixing any chips or whatever in the top of your chisel. But yeah, it's a very common practice. I've seen jobbies with what used to be a 6-inch chisel down to like an inch above the handle from doing it so often. But in safety's sake, just make sure the belt's pulling away from you before you do that. Anyways, appreciate the show. Keep up the good work.
Good idea. Good advice there.
Oh.
That's the mistake you only make once. You pretty much learn after that.
If you live through it, maybe you won't make it again. Okay.
You know, he's not the only one, though. I mean, you guys know Todd Klippinger, right?
Yeah.
Out in Montana as well. He's another belt sander aficionado. I know he's done videos on it before where, you know, sharp is sharp, right? You know, the Euclidean intersection is sharp. It's just a matter of how durable is that edge. So, hey, why not?
Which
However
is why
you're
these
gonna get
guys
sharp,
end
that's
up with a 1-inch chisel when it's all said and done, because they're
right.
grinding all their metal away. Okay, so we do actually have a regular kickback here from Steve. He says, as per your discussion on clamping squares, Woodpecker makes really good aluminum clamping squares, about $35 a pair. I use them all the time and love them, as useful in holding butt joints together for casework until the fasteners are driven and the glue dries, as they are in helping keep things square. Just my 2 cents worth, thanks. So when I was chasing my dog around the neighborhood and I was listening to you guys talk about this, I did want to chime in with that as well. I have the Woodpecker's aluminum squares, and I don't use them all the time, but I do find them handy for casework. And not even so much for keeping things dead square. I don't count them then to be dead square. It's like another set of hands. So even if you have a vertical partition that's going into a shallow dado for some casework, it is still nice, if we're talking about large pieces, to have that extra set of hands holding it in place for you while you get some clamps in place or drive some brads or whatever it is for your assembly. So that's the way I like to use them, as an extra set of hands that keeps things pretty close to square. And those $35 ones are actually not too bad. Pretty reasonably priced for a Woodpecker product, considering.
Isn't that pretty much what I said, Matt?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yep.
You were more.
Whatever,
you
Mike.
guys were more down on them.
You're just afraid that we prove you're not needed.
That's probably the case. Yes.
Don't know how accurate that is.
Actually, as I'm driving around, I had this overwhelming sensation of job security while I was looking for my dog. It was
basically, we need you to start it and stop it, and the
That's
rest
right.
of it we're good.
Yeah, it was quite reassuring. Okay, so a couple more well wishes here. Bob actually just called in, but we've got a little voicemail recording here from him.
Greetings from the Tulip City. This is Bob, and I just want to say thank you so much for all you guys have done. I can't believe it's been 10 years, and I sure hope you keep it going. I really do appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks again, Bob. And here's one you're going to like, Shannon.
Mark, Matt, and Shannon, how are you doing? I really don't have anything to say. I just wanted to sing you a message and to wish you a very nice day. Ooh,
That was awesome. Fantastic.
Was that Bing Crosby?
It sounded like it, huh?
Nice.
He's got some of that
Back
low
from the
end going.
grave. That's creepy.
Yeah, that was good. All right, one more here. Actually, here's the thing. I'm going to try to take this call from Finn Sagrat, and if I put you guys on hold as a result, I'm sorry. I will try to pull him into the call. Okay. Hello, is this Finn?
Hello, Mark.
Hello, how are you?
I'm really well, thanks. Are you okay?
I'm doing pretty well. If I could figure out how Skype works, that would be great. But other than that, I'm doing okay. What's on your mind, bud?
Well, I'm only 14, and you make my commute to school and my sanding sessions the best ever.
Nice. How long is your commute to school?
It depends, about 15 to 20 minutes on my bike.
Okay. That is so cool, man. So you have a woodcraft sort of program in your school?
Well, we live in the UK, so it's compulsory we do it.
Compulsory. I don't actually know what that means. I mean, I know what the word compulsory means, but what's it mean in the context of school and a program like that?
We have to do it for 2 years.
Oh, okay. Man, there is nothing like that here in the United States. We don't have any sort of things. Like, in fact, it's very difficult to find schools that still have these programs. So that's really great to hear.
Put it this way, the teacher doesn't like it when I have my 3M Work Tunes headset on.
There you go. I'm listening to a wood talk over here. Get off my case, man. Well, that's great, man. Thank you so much. So anything else you want to say before I get back to the guys? Because every time I take a call, I put them on hold, which kind of stinks, but that's Skype for you.
I just wish you all the best for the next few years, and you've sorted all my problems out I've ever had. Tuning tables, swords, and tuning everything.
Well, that's great, Finn, and stay in touch. Let us know what your progress is, and you're 14, so you got a bright future ahead of you. I can't wait to see what you come up with.
Thanks. See you later.
All right, take care. All right, let me get you guys back on here. Boom. Did you catch that? 14 years old.
Well, yeah. Come on, dude. Compulsory.
No, I know what compulsory means in terms of its definition. I just didn't understand in the context of a school situation what that means. Like,
he knows what it means now, Matt.
Oh, of course. It's here now.
Easy for you guys. I know you're both going on dictionary.com to look this up while you're listening. I just wish I could add it to the call that is so anticlimactic to not bring them into. There used to be an add to call button, and it doesn't exist anymore.
So that was pretty awesome.
Right?
Like, 14-year-old with his work tunes on his bike. Let's just forget about the safety issue there because he's listening to Wood Talk.
Yeah.
That's just awesome.
And then he goes to school and listens a little bit more to finish the show. That's fantastic. Well,
and he's got a cool accent, which is guaranteed to get you played on the show.
That's right. That is, everyone knows. Either that or sing, the two main rules to get on the show.
Sing with an accent.
That's right. Oh, that's even better. Ooh. Okay, so we got one more here from Jimmy Joe S.
Hello, Wood Talkers. Thanks for 10 great years of talking about talking about wood. You guys really have some discipline, determination to make it 10 years without pod fading like so many others. And you even answered some of my questions over the air during that time and really appreciate most of the answers being right. So thank you.
Nice.
But I do want to share with you some of the things I've learned over time, so here goes. I've learned that saw stop sucks. I've learned that saw stop rocks. I've learned Festool rocks. I've learned Festool sucks. Any sharp tool is good, unless it's too sharp and cuts you, which makes it not good. But use the right tool for the job, unless you don't have the right tool, in which case use whatever tool you can improvise to make it work. And if you don't have the tool you need, you can build that tool. Right, Matt? You can even build a sawmill. Oh, I've also learned that you can get wood from big box stores, but it sucks, unless it doesn't. And then you can get plentiful wood anywhere, but not all wood is plentiful, and some wood is scarce. Unless you go to McIlvaney, Headstrong, and Schwartz, and they'll have any wood you want. Speaking of Schwartz, the Schwartz be with you. Oh, and finally, one more thing. You can watch Mark and see his beard grow live in his videos. It's amazing. His hair grows so fast. And Shannon, he should have a degree in woodology, whatever woodology is. And Original Matt, he should do a voiceover work in the new Popeye animation flick. That would be awesome. And new Matt, he should be a throwback to a bygone era. Bye, guys.
That was awesome. Jimmy Joe S. Well done, sir.
Oh, incredible.
Love it. All right. So
seriously, how can you go be on the air for 10 years and not contradict yourself at least 20 times?
Well,
There's just no
ultimately,
way.
you know, I think we all learn as we go, right? So a part of that learning process is having, you know, preference changes and opinion changes and evolving with it. So I would be very curious to see how many specific contradictions like each of us has over the course of doing the show.
From week to week.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
What did I say last
Forget
week?
about 10 years.
Yeah, let me turn that around. All right.
Depending on my mood that day.
Right. Okay, so another question came in from Matthew Turner, and I thought this was pretty good. He says, "Hey guys, would love to know your favorite show or what your favorite show or moment has been, and or what you think the funniest moment has been." Matt Turner, aka Whiskey and Wood. So funniest moments, and I gave this some thought. I'll let you guys think about it since I don't think I told you this was going to be a question. I think one of my funniest moments was when we did this little like pre-recorded skit thing with Vanderlist, and it actually goes and ties in perfectly with what we were just talking about, where we had him argue with himself about SawStop being good or not good.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So if you want to go listen to this, it's absolutely fantastic. It is episode 108. And Matt basically, I took an old show and took all of his arguments and what he said in like 2007 about SawStop. And then once he got sponsored by SawStop, got a free saw, I wanted him to like give a rebuttal to his 2007 self. It's fantastic. And he was really a good sport about it too, because I mean, you know, a lot of it is just not knowing all the information at the time, you know, but it was a blast. So that was probably one of my favorite moments on the show. So do you guys have one? I'll let Matt think about it a little bit longer. Shannon, anything come to mind?
Oh,
Not your first day on the show. That doesn't count.
No, that was probably just terrible more than funny.
Well, we heard some of it already.
You know, honestly, and it might be just because my memory is failing me, because as the oldest one of the trio here, I'm going to be losing it first. But I think, honestly, some of the last probably year has been some of the funniest moments, mainly because there was a massive, and this doesn't point to a specific issue, but probably 7 or 8 issues per show. There was a massive turnover in the chemistry, and that we changed hosts.
Yeah.
And it became, at first it was like, okay, let's bring Matt along and give him time. So there was the awkward moments of just dead air while we were trying to get Matt to talk.
So bad.
And then there was the subtle transformation of Mark and I just not caring about dead air and just talking over Matt and openly making fun of Matt for not stepping up and talking more, which is what probably spawned the whole Mark and Matt pseudo feud that supposedly exists. And there's one show, and if I was prepared, I could tell you it was somewhere in the 350s, I think, where we basically just railed on Matt the entire show.
Yeah.
It was just nothing but like, well, if Matt would speak up, then he would say this. And we basically just talked over it for the entire show. So I just remember listening back to that and literally like side hurting the entire time.
Yeah.
I think Matt said twice in the show, and like, well, and that was about all he got out for the entire show. So
it really was a trial by fire. It's like, look, we want you to talk more, but we're actually going to compensate for the fact that you're not talking by talking faster and not leaving much airspace for you to talk. So you're either going to sink or swim. Yeah. So I'm curious, Matt, how have you seen, you know, it's been over a year now. So how have you seen this progression of like your experience on the show?
It's been good. I think like when I first came on the show, honestly, I had too much respect for you guys.
Hey, that could be a problem.
I didn't want to talk over you.
Right.
Or
how quickly that faded.
Yeah.
Not that quickly, actually.
It did. It took a little while.
Because I've listened to the show not since the exact beginning, but probably like year 2 or year, probably year 2, something like that. So like I've been like along for the ride the whole time, and it's like
10 years ago you were what?
12,
8.
10 years ago I would have been 19.
Wow, so
that's
you were
crazy.
Too drunk to listen to podcasts.
Yeah, seriously, you had other things to worry about. So I mean, the interesting thing, I could see what you mean. You had to go from being, you know, just someone listening, an audience member, and then on the show, maybe you can make the transition to being a guest But it's a whole different thing when you're expected to be a host, and making that transition is something that, probably, did clearly take just a little bit of time for you to warm up to it.
Yeah, it took a little bit, but like I said, just lose that respect and then boom.
Now you have
in.
no respect for us and everything is great.
Well, I just kind of realized that, you're just some idiots that just like to hang out and talk about woodworking.
Yeah, well, judging by the type of texts you get from me, you probably have realized that in spades. I have the humor
that was
of
a good clue.
Yeah, the humor of a 16-year-old boy.
Maybe
One
Mark
day
and I
we're
might
just
get
going to do
along.
a show. We're just going to read the text stream between the
I
three
don't
of us.
think that's a good idea.
That might get us in trouble. Oh, boy.
No, it most definitely would.
Yeah. All right. So since, again, you've had the year that you've been on the show, and I think I agree with Shannon. I think the last year has been some of our best content in that 10 years, which is a real good sign. But prior to that, or even pick something from the year that you've been on the show, do you have a favorite moment you can pick out?
I'll have two. I have one from the previous before Matt and then after Matt, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually have. So I used to listen to the podcast like when I was outside doing stuff in the yard or whatever. I have one distinct memory of listening to the podcast. It was when you guys were playing the meetup at Woodworking in America in whatever the heck that was, 2012, 2013.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it
That
was.
was a good one. That was a good one.
But you guys were talking about it, and I was doing some edging around this tree out back here. I just distinctly remember that conversation for some reason, and it just tied into that work I was doing in the yard. I don't know if it's not a really good memory, but it's stuck with me.
Just something that stuck with
Even
you. Okay.
Even though it has no actual substance.
Right. Like most of our conversations.
I
on
knew
the show.
what I was doing when I listened to that episode.
Yeah.
Where were you? Oh yeah. And
Nice.
probably my favorite moment. Like I don't really have the good of memory, so it's probably not gonna be that long ago. But the time that I asked you what you went to college for.
That was like that was like 3 or 4 episodes ago.
That was last week.
Yeah, it was just a couple weeks ago, but that actually was pretty damn funny.
I just want to learn. That's true. that was another one of those laugh out loud episodes.
Yeah.
That was Matt trying to actually be serious for a minute and ask Mark a serious question. Mark can't take serious, Matt, apparently.
I don't understand this serious Matt. He's unfamiliar to me.
Did you go to school to learn?
To learn.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, here's something that's a real blast from the past. I think some of you have been asking for this, and I pulled it out of one of the old shows for your listening enjoyment.
Tom's tips. That's right. I said Tom's tips. I didn't say Tom's lips. I said Tom's tips.
Hello, everyone.
All right. That's just the Tom Tips intro. I don't have the original, so that's all warbly and goofy sounding, but we used to do every week, I believe, or every show, however frequently that was. Tom would do his pre-recorded tips for us and share some cool information, woodworking tips on the show, and I had to sing the intro, which is really a terrible thing to do to people's ears, but for some reason people thought it was funny and it stuck. So hope Tom is doing well. I haven't talked to him in a while, but Tom Iovino, by the way, at tomsworkbench.com. He still has a website up. So go check him out.
Last week.
Yeah, I saw that. Actually,
you wrote a blog.
Yeah, it's I didn't read it though. I should go read it. Tom's a good friend, and
you should because there's some sad news in there, but also some new leaf news.
Oh, that's right. I know what the sad news. I've known the sad news for
that's
a long
not
time.
News for those of us that know Tom. But
yes.
Yeah, still sad. We also had Carrie Holtman on.
That's
Do you
right.
Remember those? What did we call that segment?
Carrie's
tips.
Carrie's tips.
Which could be misheard.
Yes. I didn't say Carrie's. All right.
Something else.
That
Today
could have
we
been
bring you
completely inappropriate. Carrie was great. If you haven't listened to the old stuff, Carrie has one of the best, just calm, serene, sort of voice-over audiobook voices, and she was a favorite on the show. Not only because of that, but also because she was incredibly talented and really knew her stuff. So we really enjoyed when she would send a segment into the show, but we kind of got away from that. She started doing leatherworking, and everybody just gets into different things at different times in their lives. So, but Carrie was a great addition to the show. All right, so what else do we have here? So I've got a couple of voicemails, and these, again, are just regular voicemails from the show.
Boo.
And, not dealing with the 10-year anniversary.
More well wishes.
More well wishes.
More ego boosting.
I do have some after this, so sit tight. We'll get to them. This is Davis in Nashville.
So, Mark, this one is for you. Actually, I've been trying to figure out how to send you an email because I already had this recorded as a voice memo, like I think you said to do, but I can't find your email anywhere, so I have to call in, which is a little bit annoying to have to say it twice. But
Just FYI, Davis, we say the email address in every show at the end of the show. woodtalkonline@gmail.com. And then my email address, not really that hard to find. It's kind of all over the place. But anyway, your message is getting to me, and I'm listening to it now.
that's okay, because I love you guys, love the show. So first question, actually there's only one question. Why thread taps? Wouldn't lag screws work just as well? Just kind of curious. I've never used thread taps, never tapped wood before. But anyway, yeah, if you can sell me on it, then maybe I'll buy some. I don't know. Anyway, guys, again, love the show. Thank you all. Oh, yeah, this is Davis from Nashville, Tennessee. Have a good one.
Hey, thanks, Davis. I'm the worst
You know what?
salesman.
I'm
Go ahead.
reading the show notes, and we don't say the email address at
We
the end
don't?
of the show.
Why'd you take that out?
I didn't take it out. Don't blame me.
You took it out. That's your jurisdiction,
I'm Ron
sir.
Burgundy. I just read what's written here, and then no point does it say.
Both of you do.
Well, then I owe him an apology now. Thanks for screwing me there, Shannon.
Yeah, no problem. Here to help. I'm adding it now because I don't know what our email address is either.
Well, I mean, there's the contact form. All of our websites have contact forms. That
Yeah,
we'll
but
all
can you
get.
upload. Can you upload a file?
I think we have attachments.
Oh, all right.
Either way, it's not important. But I will apologize because now I look like a jerk, which isn't the first time. But okay, so his question was.
Oh, that reminds me of a favorite show. Mark drops the F-bomb. That's gotta be
when I forgot to edit out an F-bomb. Wasn't that when I was on my road trip? I believe.
Probably.
I think there was some reason why it was a delayed. Like I just didn't review the show like I normally would. Yeah, that was a classic. All right. So his question is about why thread taps, and I'm kind of the worst salesman with this stuff because most of the time when people are like, "Here, sell me on it," I'm like, I don't really want to. Like if you don't want to buy it, then don't buy it.
Didn't the pre-order period already pass?
It is
too?
over. You can't order them now until like June,
over.
so it's kind of irrelevant until June at least.
But if you want to make an offer, I've got a set coming my way. So Davis, hey,
there you go.
Throw out a number.
There
See
you
what
go.
happens.
There you go. So the reason why thread taps is think of, lags, I think more in terms of a permanent connection. It's something I'm making a connection that I will never unscrew that thing because lags tend to kind of, they cut their threads, but they also mangle the wood as they go in. So they're not really going to go in and out and reattach very well. So think in terms of making threads because now you've got a piece of hardware connected that you can disconnect. And that's kind of really the main point. Now you can use it for a permanent or semi-permanent connection. That's no problem. But you have the ability to make jigs and things like that with it. You could attach tabletops with it. So if you ever want to take that tabletop off for transport or packing, you have the ability to do that. Lags are just going to do more damage as they go into the material, and you can't necessarily reuse them very well without sacrificing strength in the connection. So that's kind of the why, if you're going to give one. Okay, one more question here from Nate, and I think this is for you, Shannon.
Hey guys, this is Nate with a call out of California. I've seen, there's a question for Shannon on kilns. I've seen on Instagram a couple of people posting about radio frequency vacuum kilns, and it sounds very magical in that there's some pretty impressive claims about being able to dry really thick boards, like 3 inches thick, in just a couple of days and get them down to a good moisture content that's usable timber. So, Shannon, I'm wondering if you can shed some light on this. They have said these things look like they're really expensive, and it's not something that's probably useful on a large scale. But some more information would be great. Thanks, guys.
Magic. Certainly, they are magic. No, they're pretty cool. The RF vacuum kiln is the official term. So first of all, you put the wood in, and then you suck out all the air. And by doing that, you're reducing the pressure and decreasing the boiling point of the water that's in the wood. So it's essentially boiling off. It's kind of like trying to make a cup of hot tea on the top of Mount Everest. And Sir Edmund Hillary was very upset when his tea was a nice 40 degrees Fahrenheit because it boiled at, I don't know if that I'm pulling that number out of my butt, but it's the same idea. You reduce the air pressure and the water boils off. So automatically you're pulling a lot of water out of there in a relatively gentle way because it's evaporating. It's coming out in gaseous form. Then you basically pummel the board with radio waves, which is kind of doing the same thing. It's agitating some of the moisture that's in there and essentially baking it out. So think a microwave in that respect. The biggest thing is the vacuum side of things. You're really pulling out that moisture in a much, much faster way. And you get a homogeneously 100% dry, thick board. So like 12 quarter, 16 quarter, or 6x8s, 8x8s, things like that. You can never get them dry all the way to the center. If you do, invariably you've like charred the outside, you get case hardening, all kinds of crazy stuff. Not good. This actually dries it 100% kind of all at the same time. So you're not only relieving all the moisture, but you're pulling it out all at the same time, which is much better on the wood itself. The cons are, first and foremost, yes, they are very expensive. B, the capacity, at least right now, the models they have, the capacity is lower. So you can't dry as much at the same time. C, what it really comes down to, it's like the same thing that holds back stuff like the electric car. It's established infrastructure that already exists. Kilns are expensive. Lumber yards do not operate on huge margins. So, for instance, McIlvain, we have 7 kilns in Maryland and 5 kilns? Doesn't matter. 5 kilns up in Connecticut. They are very expensive. If we were to suddenly say, okay, now we're going to go to a radio frequency kiln, we could, I suppose, add another one, but then we'd have to give up space to store lumber. So then you think, okay, well, tear down one of your existing kilns and put up another one. That's expensive. Plus you're losing drying time. So it's kind of one of that catch-22, like how do I stop drying in order to add time to build a new kiln? So probably the best way to do it is if you were to start a brand new lumber yard and go all RF kilns right out the bat. How many new lumber yards do you know coming in right now? It's just the opposite. Coming out of a recession, there are lumber yards closing left and right. So
boutique ones, I guess.
I suppose, yeah. And you can see there are people. That's actually a good point, Matt. That's where you see the RF vacuum kilns happening now. It's the smaller, artisanal lumber yards that have kicked in that are starting to use these. But they are a very expensive outlay of cash, and it's kind of a if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, you got these kilns that are already running, and you've got to, shut them down and replace them with something new. So there's certainly growing pains there. At the same time, they just haven't been around long enough to have a hard and fast drying schedule for all of the species that the average commercial kiln is going to need to do. So what we see now, the real advantage for these is in the thick timbers. So if you're talking timber framing, but interior timber framing, say you want exposed post and beam inside your great room or whatever, that's got to be a kiln dried 6 to 8% material, or it's going to check all to hell inside. So the real need for it is in your 6x, your 8x, even 12x timbers. And that's really the species that comes in: Douglas fir, sometimes some oaks, some hemlocks. That's really what we know right now. We don't really have any past performance on vacuum kiln drying cherry or maple. Actually, I know several guys trying to do maple, and they're having a devil of a time trying to get it work. So then there's the whole aspect of how much lumber do you want to waste until you figure this out, which only adds to the further infrastructure kind of upgrade type stuff. So it's growing pains with brand new technology. And that's really what's holding it back at this point.
Cool. Okay, we've got a couple more well wishes here. This one just came in, and it's video, and I'm not going to be able to play it so that people live can see the video, but you will hear the audio. I haven't previewed it, so hopefully they don't curse or get crazy. But it's Megan Fitzpatrick, and I see in the background, it looks like David Teal, folks from Popular Woodworking.
That's not funny. It's from wait, I don't want video of me hitting you. That'd be inspired. So, hi.
Are we rolling? Oh, of course we are.
Happy 10-year anniversary to Wood Talk from Popular Woodworking, from the only 2 people on staff who are actually old enough to remember you.
That is it.
Oh my Lord, that's scary.
Congratulations, Wood Talk. Keep it up. Keep the good work going.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. That was great.
Oh, man.
And yeah,
Thanks,
man,
guys.
that makes you feel
That's
old.
awesome.
Too
Seriously, Popular Woodworking has worse turnover than we do.
Yeah, well, We don't have that bad a turnover.
Although percentage-wise, we've had one person leave.
Yeah.
So that's 33% turnover.
Mhm.
That's pretty bad.
That's
Ooh,
that's good math.
Never mind.
All right. Speaking of Popular Woodworking, it doesn't quite work for them anymore, but I will always sort of associate this gentleman with Pop Woodworking. But let's hear from the Schwartz.
This is Chris Schwartz at Lost Art Press. All I have to say to Matt, Mark, and Shannon is congratulations on 10 years of Wood Talk, and you young whippersnappers, get off my lawn.
Chris is fantastic. Love that guy.
That was a good episode too. Didn't we have one called "Get Off My Lawn"?
I'm sure we did. That sounds like
we had to.
A title that we would have had. Yeah. But Schwartz has always been a good supporter of the show. Way back when, we used to have a little bumper that we would play from Chris Schwartz that was pretty funny. But go check his stuff out over at lostartpress.com. That simple?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds right to me. Okay, a few more to listen to here. Paige, we actually answer Paige's questions all the time on Patreon. Let's hear from Paige.
Hello, Mark, Matt, and Shannon. I just want to say thank you guys for all the years, or year in Matt's case, of wonderful woodworking content for us internet woodworkers and hangers-on. Keep doing what you're doing, guys.
We definitely will, Paige. Thank you. And here's one from Mike.
Happy 10th anniversary, Wood Talk. You guys bring a great combination of technical skill, camaraderie, and humor to an industry that really appreciates the direction. This is Mike Zellman. Thanks.
Mike, thank you so much, dude. Sheldon.
Mike needs a job as like a classical music station DJ.
Yeah. Introduce the next.
That was Piano Concerto number.
Totally an AM radio
109.
station voice.
Kirkle 157. Directed by Philip Harnoncourt and the New York Philharmonic Orchestra.
That's on a Sunday when you really have nothing better to do and you're just sitting around listening.
That was awesome. I love it.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that. Last one I have here is from Sheldon.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
That is so good. And if you don't get what that is, you got to go watch more crappy movies.
Seriously. Stop looking at me, Swan.
Fantastic. I thought that was the best one to close out the show on.
Oh, my face.
All right. So I'll tell you what, guys. This is the end of the 10-year anniversary show. I just want to thank my co-hosts for tolerating me and doing this with me for the last, well, some of them have been here longer than others, but and all the way back to Vanderlist, who helped me start the show. Thank you for doing this with me. It means a lot to me. I actually sent a really nice text to Shannon earlier, and I think it was my cold medicine for my sinuses that was speaking, where I was actually somewhat sentimental.
Really made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell even with his text that he shuddered a little bit. He hit a few wrong keys. But this is something that I think if we don't think about it much and just, it's a daily grind, we do the show, it's another Monday, let's do another show, you start to just I don't know, you don't think like it's that big of a deal. But in the end, when you start to realize how many people we've met through this, the number of people who we affect, a 14-year-old kid in the UK who's going to school on his bike is listening to this is all really special stuff. And I hate to be one of those people who realizes this stuff in retrospect. I want to realize how great something is while I'm doing it. And honestly, to me, this is one of the most fun things that I could do with my time is do this show with you guys. So I wanted to thank both of you for that. And I want to thank the audience because ultimately, without your encouragement to continue doing this and to do it more frequently and to do the Patreon thing, which brought a lot of new things to the table, we'd be nowhere without you guys. So from day one, it has always been about audience participation, asking questions from the audience, playing voicemails from the audience. It's always been about the community. So thank you so much for supporting us. And, speaking for all three of us, I think we certainly appreciate it. So anything you guys want to close out the show with? I don't want to hog all the time here. Shannon, you got anything?
Thank you for your support.
Sure.
Bartles
and James. Man, you're making me feel old. You do these references and then I get them, and that's the worst part of it.
Even better. Even better. Good.
Better because I don't get them. So
Yeah, Matt's like, I don't understand what that is. I didn't see that on YouTube.
I just smile and nod.
Exactly. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, totally.
Matt, you got anything to close out with?
I'm gonna try this again. I tried this a few weeks ago, but I love you guys.
Oh, that's right. We thwarted your efforts last time. Just made a total joke of it. Oh well, I guess we love you too. Shannon, say it. You're the one who has trouble with expressing your feelings.
I like you a whole lot, Matt.
He's too uncomfortable. He
That's
can't
what
do it.
I like you.
I like you. Good stuff. All right. Well, thank you for listening, everyone. We really appreciate it. And I will mention that we have the email extra coming up. The email extra and the weekend show will be regular, normal content, not just anniversary fluff. And if you're a $4 patron or higher over on Patreon, you'll get access to that email extra. So just go to patreon.com/woodtalk and you will find out all the information there. You can also support the show by picking up a Wood Talk t-shirt at twwstore.com, and you could leave us a review in the iTunes store. And Shannon, including our email address, why don't you give them that contact info?
Excellent. If you have comments, questions, or suggestions for the next 10 years, you have several ways to get those to us. Leave a voicemail on Skype. Our username is WoodTalkOnline. You can call us at 623-242-5180, or just go ahead and record it. Record it on your little phone, your tape deck, your Walkman, your Sony Discman. I don't think you can record on those, but you get the idea. Take that and send it to woodtalkonline@gmail.com. It's the right address, isn't it, Mark?
I believe so.
Online.
That is.
Yeah, it's not woodtalk@gmail.
No,
Woodtalk
this was pre-name change.
Wow, it takes me back.
Yeah.
woodtalkonline@gmail.com. You can use our fancy contact form at woodtalkshow.com/contact, or go to this episode, leave us a comment there, and say, Merry 10 years.
Yay.
Other than that, we're around. You can find us. Patreon.com/woodtalk, slabbergasted.com, cupaslab.com, macremona.com.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that. Oh,
that's right. We should have tallied your domain expenses for 2017 and 2016. He's single-handedly keeping GoDaddy in business. It's fantastic.
Yeah, doing what I can do.
Right. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Glad to have you here for the last 10 years and hope to have you here for the next 10, God forbid. And we will talk to you later on.
Bye.
Goodbye.
All right. That's the thing that scares me when people are like, oh, I hope you have another 10. I'm like, oh, really? How do we pull that off?
Man, I'll be like your guys' age.
I know, you'll be an old man. You'll be referencing stuff from like the 2000s, and we will be like, I don't remember that.
Crapping my pants all the time.
Crapping your pants like an old woodworker. Well, by then, we'll be able to give you advice on what to do about crapping your pants, because we'll have been doing it for 15 years. All right.
Talk about our prostates and stuff.
Yeah. Nothing like a good prostate. All right.
We can do that now if you want. Today's email extra will be about your prostate and you.
Yes, prostate health.
Sorry.
It's very important.
Troy
Okay,
McClure.
so you want to just record the weekend show, keep the live thing going? Seems like it's holding up. It's not holding up great, but it's there. 92% CPU is not a good thing.
I think it's weird how zoomed in I am. Like actually watching the live stream.
Yeah. Weird would not be
comparing it
the
to
adjective
actual
I would
Skype
use.
window. Like I'm trying to like scooch down on my seat so it's not cutting off,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway.
I feel you. All right. All right, we're going to pull up the weekend show here. The weekend show. What is it, 372? Yeah, 372. And this is... Okay, so the guy's question, you guys read this already?
Just now.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
just now.
Good. Hey, Nick Carruthers is calling. I'm not going to add him to the call, though, because I can't let him talk to you guys, and we're not recording
As long as
anyway.
Don't check your prostate on the air.
He's also late.
There's a delay.
Is it that much of a delay that he'd be calling in?
Well, it depends on when his because there's a DVR function on, isn't there?
Oh, he may be like a
I
few
can
minutes
watch.
behind. Good
Because
point.
I had like a super delay, and then I realized I had to fast forward based on when I initially hit play and when I hit pause. And
You
it,
suck. All right.
Yep.
Here we go. Where is it? So yeah, I figure we can make this more of a conversation about We'll listen to that. We can make it more of a conversation about things that we might, tell people to do, but not necessarily do all the time ourselves, just, because reality. So if there's anything that comes up in your mind, think of it, because otherwise we won't have much to talk about.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Welcome to the Wood Talk Weekend Show. It's time to unbutton those pants, crack open a fresh grape soda, and let the soothing sounds of Mark, Shannon, and Matt caress your ear holes.
All right, it's Wood Talk number 372 for April 7th, 2017. It's a weekend show. We like these. They're fun.
It's the weekend already.
Yay!
Oh, the week's gone.
Right?
I didn't do anything this week.
Hey, are the weekends satisfying to you anymore, Matt, now that you have kids?
I think I can go back even further now that I'm self-employed. There's no weekends.
Okay. Between
So
being
it's like-
self-employed and having children, and not to say that the kids aren't fun, right? That's all. It's a different kind of fun than the kind of fun you have when you're being productive or sitting down playing video games or whatever you do for, personal enjoyment. But yeah, like weekends kind of just, I don't really think about it.
Honestly, it's another day for me.
Right. Exactly. It's another
My
day.
wife happens to be home.
It's another day that you don't get much done. That's the way I look at it.
Sometimes, yes, that's kind of the way the days go.
Yeah. All right. So we got a question here, and it's a, oh man, did I put the person's name there? Well, shoot, dog, I forgot. So someone wrote in and said, I have a question for you guys. Well, the power tool guys, at least. Sorry, Shannon. Do you unplug your table saw to change blades? So while, that is in and of itself an interesting question, I thought there's
I did.
You used to.
I used to.
When you
Yeah.
had one. I think there's
I forget to plug it back in, and I was like, "This stupid thing doesn't work." I'm taking up hand tools.
Yeah, this thing never works for me.
It's the number one single reason why I'm in hand tools now.
Right.
I just forgot
Power
to plug it back
switches.
in.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
But
so
there's
hard to figure out.
There's sort of a broader topic at play here, and that is, do we practice what we preach in terms of like safety precautions? I don't know, technique. You say like always do it this way, but then sometimes when no one's looking, you do it a different way. So just trying to think of let's talk about the table saw thing. I will first and foremost admit that I don't unplug my table saw for blade changes, and I actually, because I don't like to say something that I don't actually do myself, I don't think I've ever. I may have suggested it, like you may want to unplug this, but I don't go through the like effort that you'll see in, I don't know, like a magazine's DVD where they're like
the plug right
you see the guy, they make it so painfully obvious that this thing is unplugged. And I don't go through that because I'm not gonna, I don't want to blow smoke up people's butts. The reality is no, I don't, because and here's, okay, maybe this is stupid, but empirically speaking, my own evidence with this, I have never seen my saw turn on by itself. That's all. That's I've never come into my shop and go, who turned that table saw on? What's going on here? So that is why I have confidence that it is not going to suddenly turn on. I understand it totally makes sense. It's sort of a belt and suspenders, extra level of safety. Totally makes sense. And if you want to do it, I'm totally behind you. But for me personally, if I'm being honest, I don't do it. So Matt, do you do it? I'd be
No.
surprised if you said yes.
Yeah, me too. For exactly the same reason. I walk into my shop and be like, oh, look, my table saw's on. The only thing that you can kind of argue towards unplugging it is you somehow bump the switch when you're changing the blade.
Mm-hmm.
But
Wouldn't that just turn it off?
It would turn it off. Yes, that's correct. So it would be some crazy move for you to be able to turn that saw on, even when it was plugged in. Somehow you want to try and turn it on.
You would have to have an unusual sort of massive and very hard growth on your thigh so that it would actually go in between.
Around there.
So what you're saying is it's possible.
It is possible, but you would have to have a deformity to make it work. Or maybe you've got like a cargo
The moral
pants
of the
with a
story
giant
is,
button.
people, if you're aroused, don't woodwork.
That could be it too. Depends on how tall you are and
only emotionally erect can
Yes.
you be while woodworking.
Exactly. And we all are. Let's be honest.
I'm glad I went there. That's good. That's real
So,
good.
So yes, I think that's the story. And again, I think if we're just saying what's the safest thing to do, I don't think we're denying that it certainly is safer to unplug that saw. That's
Never change your blade. It might get cut.
Don't even do woodworking while you're at it.
Yeah.
If you don't do woodworking, you can't get hurt. Simple as that. So can you guys think of anything else? Because we're in a position of showing people stuff on video. We're teaching people where we preach one thing and actually maybe do something a little bit different when folks aren't looking, whether it's safety techniques. So Shannon, what do you got?
Never move the tool rest while the lathe is running. Whatever.
Right.
When have I mean, and this goes back even before pedal lathes, because I still have an electric lathe that I keep around, it's like, no. In fact, the best way to figure out how to get it as close to the piece without bumping it is to turn it on and kind of scooch it in. And if you start to hear that little, nope, it's too close, back it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
All the time.
You got anything else, Matt?
I mean, there are times where I won't do something on video because I just want to avoid the comments that go with it. So it depends on how snarky I'm feeling that day, and if I want to deal with the comments. The tool rest thing is a good one. I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head, but I don't really preach or talk about safety a whole lot because I just think that it's kind of personal responsibility. And everyone, to be honest, everyone has such a drastically different level of acceptable levels of safety that you can't really say this is what you have to do all the time, because some people might even think that is not safe enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, and there's
really a really interesting perspective, though. I mean, certainly, I don't know what the age gap has to be before you're in a new generation or whatever, but whatever. We can look at Matt as being the next generation of woodworkers, because I know, Mark, when you and I were getting started, there wasn't a lot of content for woodworking, so we all had to we created the safety content.
If we didn't do it, it wouldn't have been there.
Right. So now the next generation comes along and they're like, well, it's already there, so I don't need to talk about it.
Right.
But it's actually really kind of impressive, Matt, that your thought is, well, it's a personal responsibility. Because I think for the longest time, when Mark and especially Matt Vanderlist was getting started, it's like, well, it's almost like you have to throw out the disclaimer. You had to do your safety video so that no one would give you crap because you could say, well, I did the safety video. And now it's like, it's already been done. It's up to you to be safe. Do what you think is safe. And, when I'm on video, I'll do things that I think are safe. That's actually, maybe things have gotten better.
Maybe. Or maybe they just don't care.
Yeah, could be.
Well, I think we felt the responsibility at the time to say, well, I do know some of these safety things. Let me share these too, because a lot of times we still, even back then, would get that feedback. Oh, you shouldn't do this because of that. So you would feel inclined to at least give your logic behind what you do and why you do it.
At least they tell you why. That's one of my pet peeves. We had that show. I never had this one at that show, but one of my pet peeves is you shouldn't do this, and then they just neglect to tell you why.
Yeah. Okay.
That is not helpful at all.
Yeah. This is a rule. Never break that rule. Okay. Well, here's a good one. I would always hear about not cross-cutting cross-cutting a workpiece with your fence. And no, if you don't explain why that is, then you get a bunch of people who simply repeat that every time you use a miter gauge with a fence. And they don't understand the reason behind the reason that's said in the first place. It's not a hard and fast rule across the board. It's for certain situations. So when I do it in a situation that I actually think is perfectly safe, you find people who are just repeating that because they heard this is a rule that you just don't break. Mm-hmm. One that I have broken, and I'm always hesitant to show it for the same reasons you're talking about, Matt, just because you don't want to deal with it, is cross-cutting a piece on a table saw or cutting a piece on a table saw that is wider than it is long front to back, right? So the general rule is never cut something that is wider than it is long. Am I saying that right? Or am I getting it backwards? I think it's right. So let's say you've got...
Yeah, I guess. Whatever.
You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So there are times when I do that. I'll make that cut. And the reason I do it is because even though the piece is long and I'm doing this cross-cut action, I've got enough reference surface and I could put all my pressure on the space between the blade and the fence that I feel perfectly comfortable making that cut. But if you don't really have a lot of experience with the table saw, a cut like that is kind of scary. And if you put the pressure in the wrong place, you're going to have a serious problem. But I can't necessarily show that because it's one of those things that breaks a rule, that most of these people have heard that rule. So I just don't show it. But I do it all the time.
I've shown that. I didn't get any comments about it. I think I've shown that at some point. It's something I do if I feel comfortable doing it. If it's not it has to be pretty narrow for it to be uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
But 12 inches wide by 3 feet long, I'll take a square off the end of it or whatever.
But would you recommend that cut for a beginner?
They need to understand what's going on with the table saw and how that cut is being done, because I've seen like the scarier ones when they're cutting and they're pushing on the outside of the blade.
Outside of not between the fence and the blade. Their hands are on the outboard side.
And then they get through the cut, and that board just sitting there between the blade and the fence.
Yeah.
And you're just waiting for it.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, they cut the video before it probably happened.
Right, exactly. 3 weeks later, after the hospital visit, they're back. Yeah, it can be a little bit tricky. All right, well, I would be curious to hear from you guys. I mean, especially from the audience, a lot of you, or most of you, I would say probably, you don't make videos, so you're just doing this stuff in your shop. Are there things that you should do that you don't? Or, precautions you should take, but you don't? We'd be curious to hear your thoughts on those. Let us know in the comments. And I think that just about does it for the weekend show.
All right.
Yeah.
Weekend's over.
Weekend's over. It's Monday again. Let's get back to work.
It's Monday again.
Yeah. Time to do another show.
God, it was the fastest weekend ever.
All right. Well, thank you for listening, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
Love
you. I keep hearing a phone ding. Is that someone else's phone, or is mine in here and I just don't see it?
No, mine's not dinging.
Not it.
Maybe I'm just hearing things.
Maybe.
All right, we're going to kill the live stream. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for being here for the 10th anniversary show. A lot of fun. I wish I could have gotten the Skype thing to work a little bit better, but we did at least get to hear from a couple people. That was cool.